Avatar, directed by James Cameron, is my favourite movie of all time. Remember that movie? That film came out in 2009 and was visually outstanding for its time. When I watch it back on Blu-ray now, I still find the visuals breathtaking. It also used to be the top grossing film of all time, for a very long time actually, and everyone's forgotten about it. When you think Avatar, you probably automatically think of Avatar The Last Airbender or Blue People. Jack Films did a video on asking random people if they could name one character from the movie, and nobody could remember a single name. Not even Jake Sully, the main character whose name they constantly repeat.
Jake! My Jake!
So what was Avatar about? What was the plot? I'd recommend you watch it if you've never watched it before or have completely forgotten about it before you watch this video, because I don't want to ruin it for you and I'd appreciate it if you could. I asked one of my friends to watch Avatar with me at my house because we have the Blu-ray version, but they started watching it online for free and that pissed me off so much, because that's just not how you watch a movie like Avatar. You need to completely get pulled in by everything it contains, its aesthetic, its sound. That's like watching Avengers Endgame on your phone on 123 movies at 360p. It's not allowed. That same friend did come to my house to watch it and they liked it, but apparently because they watched Aquaman before they came to watch Avatar, they felt like it wasn't original because it was apparently so similar to Aquaman, which I've never watched before. I still haven't watched it. Like, I'm willing to watch any film, like even if I know I'll hate it, because I like giving my reviews on movies. I do film studies, I like to analyse films, but I don't know, Aquaman, I've just been holding back because I've heard it was bad, which doesn't make sense because I watched Cats. Yeah, Cats. Even though that movie was rated like 0 stars when it first came out, I still wanted to watch it to see what it was like. I'm getting off track. This video is meant to be about Avatar. Okay, so Avatar starts off in space, like 100 and something years into the future. You see this big ship carrying a bunch of people who've just awoken. There's a voiceover. The voice belongs to our main protagonist, Jake Sully, who explains that his twin brother Tom used to be a scientist person but was killed in a mugging, so because they're like twin brothers, Jake is able to take his place on his mission to Pandora, which is basically to go into his brother's body, his brother's avatar body, and act like the natives of Pandora and convince them to move from their giant tree home, because right under the giant tree is a rock that's worth a super ton of money. I'm dumbing down the plot because I don't want to go into detail with this. When this first came out, I was around 6, right? So the concept of having another body of a different type of species and being able to scientifically go into that body whenever you wanted to was like completely original to me, and it was like mind-blowing. So obviously I was interested straight away. So that's the first reason why Avatar is my favourite movie. The concept was different to anything I've watched before. Like, I know I was really young, so of course I hadn't watched a lot of films like this, but still the time and age of which I watched this was like definitely a factor. Grace Augustine, the science lady who's pissed off all the time, takes this out on Jake every time she sees him. Maybe because he doesn't have legs? I don't know. I mean, he has legs, they don't work. But probably the real reason is because he has no knowledge of what he's doing or what he's up against. Grace seems to prefer Norm Spellman, who is a scientist who actually knows the things he needs to know. Jake goes into his avatar body, his legs work, he gets so gassed that he runs out the room really fast, pissing everyone off. Grace is in her avatar body, she throws him a fruit, Jake takes a bite of the fruit, he loves it. The scene really makes you want to taste that fruit, like it looks so juicy. Every time I eat a fruit, specifically a fig, like a fresh one, it makes me feel like I'm eating that fruit. This isn't important, I don't know why I'm still talking about this. Okay, Helicopter Woman Trudy takes the 3 characters I mentioned so far into the jungles of Pandora with Lyle. He's like a mercenary sort of guy who I personally don't think was needed. Like, if I remember correctly, he had a gun on him, but the gun didn't really help, because like Jake runs into a hammerhead, but then a Thanator scares it away and starts chasing Jake, and Lyle doesn't help at all. Like, I don't even think he was in that clip, he kind of just disappeared. I think he was told to stay behind with the helicopter, but it doesn't seem like Jake and the other 2 went too far. so I'm pretty sure Lau could have still heard all these animal noises. Jake jumps into the bottom of a waterfall to escape, and it works. But after the crew fail to find him, they leave him because night is too dangerous apparently to keep looking for him. Jake is attacked by a pack of viper wolves, and this complicated character called Neytiri, the Na'vi princess, saves him. Jake tries to thank her, but she walks away. He goes after her, she gets angry saying, "This is sad, it didn't need to die, this was unnecessary, this is all your fault." Even though the viper wolves attacked him first. But anyway, Jake's like, "Oh, why did you save me then?" And she's like, "Oh, because your heart is strong and you have no fear." So Jake's like, "Take me to your people, I wanna be like you." And she's like, "No, because you're an idiot." A bunch of wood sprites land on Jake, and Neytiri's like, "Wow," and Jake is like, "Ew," and he smacks them off, and then Neytiri's like, "No," and then she's like, "Come with me," and Jake follows her. This scene is actually really beautiful for me. Like, the night scene's always my favorite in terms of visuals, like the glowing. Oh my days, if you look at the skins of the Na'vi people or the avatar bodies, you can see they have markings on their skin that glow as well. Apparently it's called bioluminescence, which I thought was really cool when I first noticed it. Other plants and animals in Pandora have this trait. So that's the second reason why Avatar is my favourite film. It's visuals, and their skin colours are blue, and my favourite colour is blue. So that's a bonus for me. They both arrive at Hometree, the super crazy big tree that the Matakaya clan lives in. Sute comes in, who was chosen to mate with Neytiri in the future because he's the finest warrior. He automatically clocks onto the love plot that's going to happen soon. So he's like, "I'm jealous, let's kill Jake." But then Neytiri's parents are like, "Nah, let's teach him to be one of us." So there's like a compilation of Neytiri teaching Jake everything. She pretends she doesn't want to, but secretly we know she has the feels for him. Back in the human bodies, the main human characters go and check out the Hallelujah Mountains, which are floating mountains, and everyone's like, "Whoa!" Norm is obviously secretly jealous of how Jake was accepted by the Na'vi people, and Grace basically takes advantage of this situation so that she can be accepted into the clan again. She used to teach the Na'vi people English and human culture, but they shut all of that stuff down after a massacre happened. So Grace starts being nice to Jake. He learns how to connect his tail to animals, one being a horse sort of species, which he falls off from. He learns how to use a bow and do leaf parkour. Eventually he makes his first clean kill, performs a ritual, and now Neytiri says, "Hey, you're ready to choose your own banshee," which he almost gets killed by, but he yells at it and it flies straight, so it's okay. The third reason Avatar is my favourite film is because of the world building. I adore films with great world building, like Lord of the Rings, The Hunger Games, Harry Potter, etc. Avatar has so much lore, like so much went into the context of the narrative that I didn't even realize. From the Na'vi culture to the plants in Pandora, everything you see in that movie probably has its own wiki page. The Na'vi language is an actual language that they created. They didn't just make up a few phrases. Another YouTube channel called Sideways explains this more. I will leave a link in the description. They really went all out. There were a lot of deleted scenes because the film was just too long to include everything. I'll do my reactions to them on another video because I think they should have been included because they explain a lot. But even without them, the film works on its own. Films are like ways to escape reality. Life can sometimes be either too boring or too depressing, and for me, sometimes life can be too boring. I'm very imaginative and a creative person, so I tend to get lost in my own thoughts, and I come up with my own stories. So I love genres like fantasy and science fiction, adventure, those type of genres. If a film has good world building, you want to be in that world, you want to experience those environments, those activities, you sort of envy the characters inside the movie. I definitely would love to experience the world of Pandora, and I love reading and finding out more about the lore. One thing I found out recently, which I found really interesting, was even though Sute was to marry Neytiri, he actually loved her sister who passed away sometime before the movie, and he connected with the Tree of Voices in attempt to see Neytiri's sister. This definitely puts a lot of perspective on why Sute hates humans so much, because Neytiri's sister was killed by the RDA soldiers. Back to the plot. While Neytiri and Jake were flying together on their banshees, they get attacked by Turuk, also known as Last Shadow. This giant flying beast was once ridden by Neytiri's great-great-grandfather. He was the last of the 5 Last Shadow riders. He brought the Na'vi people out of a time of great sorrow, and that's why Neytiri admires him. At the end of the 3 months, Jake reports back to Miles Quaritch, the guy who's in charge of Pandora's military defense force. Earlier in the movie, Quaritch takes advantage of Jake's military training and says that if he succeeds in reporting back all of his findings of the Na'vi to him, he will see to it that Jake gets the surgery needed to regain the use of his legs. So after the 3 months, Jake's assignment is over and he is to return to Earth immediately so that he can get that leg surgery he was promised. But Jake's like, hold up, let me do one more ceremony. That should make them trust me so we can relocate them peacefully. That night, Jake does the ceremony. He's now one of the people. Neytiri takes Jake to the Tree of Voices, where if you connect to the trees, you can hear the voices of the dead. Now that Jake is one of the people, he can carve his bow from the wood of Hometree, and he can also choose a mate. Neytiri is like, you want the best singer? And he's like, nah. You want the best hunter? He's like, maybe, just JK, I choose you. Then they mate by connecting their hair together. I think the idea of them being mated for life is great because it's spiritual and it's full of love. And they do it before Awa, the guiding force and deity of Pandora. And the fact that they mated for life makes Jake's predicament even worse now. Now, it could seem that Jake just got caught up in the moment and he doesn't actually love her, he's just attracted to her. But mating isn't the act of reproduction for them. It's taken before Awa, so Awa has to accept for the couple to mate, only if she can see that their future will be happy and pleasant. So, we know that Jake and Neytiri actually love each other. During this scene, my favourite track from the Avatar soundtrack plays. This is my 4th reason why Avatar's my favourite film, the soundtrack. I love the music. James Horner did an amazing job, rest in peace, James. Each track fits in the scene so well, like it just immerses you more into the movie. There's not much to say about this, it's just magical, it gives you a lot of emotions. I use the music as inspiration whenever I'm writing my own stories because it puts me back into that world of Pandora. I specifically listen to Becoming One with Neytiri the most. Neytiri gets awoken by a bulldozer and tries to wake up Jake, but it doesn't work because he's busy eating breakfast in his human body. But it's okay because eventually he wakes up and tries to play rock, paper, scissors with the bulldozer and he pulls a rock and breaks the camera. But that doesn't exactly stop them from destroying the Tree of Voices. Sute tears up, and knowing about how he used to use the trees to connect to Neytiri's sister just makes his reaction hit harder. So when Jake and Neytiri return to Hometree, Sute is really pissed and he's like, you mated with this woman? And this basically comes out of nowhere for some reason. And they're both like, yeah, pretty much, what's done is done. Sute tries to kill Jake and Jake's like, nah mate, and he pulls out a knife. Both Jake and Grace collapse because, oh no, Quaritch found out that Jake tried fighting against the bulldozers. But Parker, the administrator of the RDA, is like, wait, let's give them 1 more hour to convince the Na'vi people, because he doesn't want to kill them because of bad press. But Jake fails, and when he reveals his mission and that he knew the RDA would attack from the beginning, Neytiri's like, oh, you never loved me, I trusted you, you will never be one of the people, Dad, you can do whatever you want to them now. So then Jake and Grace get bounded, and the Matakaya clan prepare for war, but they didn't prepare enough because the strike force manages to get the tree to catch on fire. Neytiri's mother is desperate and is like, I'm gonna kill you for this, just joking, please help us. But they fail, explosions happen, the Avatar tree is falling down, everyone cries, and it's so sad. The feels really hit in this, like I know I laughed when I said it's so sad, but you know, it is really sad when you first watch it. They managed to make the audience tear up over a tree. That's another reason I love this film. They really have a great build up to this moment because they align the audience towards the Na'vi people, seeing why exactly all these things are important to them. It means everything to them. So you know once the home tree is destroyed, it's basically game over for the Matakaya because that's their home gone. Atukan, Neytiri's father, gets impaled with a piece of wood. He doesn't die from the tree falling on him or anything, he dies from a piece of wood that was sent flying by the explosions. What a way to die. Before he dies, he gives his bow to Neytiri. Neytiri cries and yells at Jake and he goes walking off to somewhere. Another reason I love this film is because they chose the right actors. They're all perfect for their roles, their performance is great. You can really sympathize with their emotions they're presenting. There's not much to say about this, so let's move on. Jake and Grace are awoken again, and because they failed, they are under arrest for treason. Trudy and Max arrive. Max is like a good guy supporting character, which I forgot to mention. They save the gang. In an attempt to escape, Grace gets shot. This is bad. They fly to the little camp place containing Avatar Link units, close to the Tree of Souls, where the remaining Na'vi people fled to safety. To get the trust of the Na'vi people again, Jake manages to ride Last Shadow. The Na'vi people are like, damn, okay, we trust you now. Now everyone respects him. Even Sute! Jake brings dying Grace to the Tree of Souls, where everyone sings hymns in order to transfer Grace's spirit to her avatar body. But it doesn't work. Before she passes, Grace lets Jake know that Awa is real and that she is with her now. Jake does this speech to convince the Na'vi people to fight back against the Sky people. Sute translates for him. Yay! Friendship! He travels to all the other Na'vi tribes to convince them to fight with them, and they are convinced. But before the final battle, Jake asks Awa to help stop humans from destroying Pandora, just like they messed up Earth. And Neytiri hears this and she's like, oh yeah, by the way, Awa doesn't take sides. The battle begins. In summary, Sute dies, Trudy dies, Norm gets shot and has to return back to his human body. Basically, the Na'vi are losing. Jake tries to contact his friends, not knowing that the two of them died and that one almost died. Neytiri is able to respond, but her Ikran Banshee thingy is dead now. The bad guys are coming towards her. Jake's like, don't shoot, don't you shoot. Don't do it. And she gets ready to shoot, but what's this? Awa heard Jake's request and she sends all of nature to fight against the humans. A Thanator allows Neytiri to ride it. The humans on the ground retreat. Lao from the beginning dies, I think. He gets crushed by a hammerhead. Like he gets stomped on. Jake and the Banshees defeat all the helicopter humans. Quaritch manages to escape and heads towards the Avatar unit link that Jake is in. Neytiri tries to stop him, but the Thanator gets killed and Neytiri is now stuck under the animal and she can't move. Quaritch smashes the glass of the camp, so Jake is struggling to stay in this avatar body. But because he's the main protagonist, he needs to kill the antagonist. So when Quaritch is able to catch Jake and he attempts to slice Jake's throat, he takes so long that it allows Neytiri to get her father's bow and shoot him in the chest. And she does this twice just to make sure he dies. Which is good, but she should have aimed for the head. But because he's not Thanos, 2 arrows in the chest is able to kill him. Then Neytiri is like, oh yeah, Jake's human. So she goes into the camp. Jake couldn't reach the exopack, so now he's unconscious. But Neytiri puts the exopack on his face and Jake survives. Woo! Now we're at the end. The humans are sent back to Earth, except for a few. Jake returns to the Tree of Souls to transfer his spirit into his avatar body permanently. His eyes open. Boom, it worked. The end. But this isn't the end of Avatar. There's 3 more movies that are planned after this, which I'm really looking forward to. You could say that the film lacked a lot of character development, like how Jake and Neytiri fell in love so quickly, how some characters don't seem very necessary, but I'm telling you, the deleted scenes show a lot. There are other times where Jake and Neytiri connect, and the character Norm has a lot more to his story. Although a lot of the scenes were not included, they're still canon. And like I said, I'll show you my thoughts on those deleted scenes in another video. But the main reason Avatar is my favourite film of all time is because it's one of the films that greatly inspired me to work in the film industry and get into the creative arts. I wanted to make a film like Avatar. I wanted to make Avatar 2 at the time. But at the time I didn't know Avatar 2 was going to be about Jake's children. And I wanted to make an Avatar movie about their children. So like every night when I'd go to sleep, I'd imagine my version of Avatar 2. I continued the story myself. I didn't want to leave that world. I might make a video about my version of Avatar 2 if anyone's interested. The world, the characters, the environment inspired characters and the worlds of my own stories, which I hope to be turning into books one day. I'm not sure if Avatar 2 will be as good as the first movie, but let's just hope so. I'm still looking for a movie that can overtake the place of Avatar for me, but I don't think any movie will. So yeah, those are my reasons. I hope you can agree with some of these reasons, or at least one of them. Everyone has different opinions, so if you disagree with me, let me know. I like hearing about other people's views on things. Lockdown is still a thing, so I'll be making more videos like this if I can't make any more short films. I hope that's okay. Stay safe, wash your hands, don't die, see you soon. So the music video had a kid from Panic at the Disco. No, had a kid from Stranger Things.
Wait,
What are you on about?
I promise you, like, a nurse.